intro be having a little bop. What's up, Shaya? How you doing?
Hey Donna, hey, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. We are going to this is She's on Fire. I love the She's on Fire series. People are like, you need to do it more often. And I'm like, no. I got other things to do.
I feel like it.
I'm not Oprah. And you will soon find that out in this little section right here that I'm not Oprah. Um, but we do like to have fun. And what I love about doing the She's on Fire series is that it's not like practiced or anything like that. And we're very, very open and honest, and people say what they got to say and fire savvy. So I love that. But this one is all about, that 45 to 60 days in. I know it says 30 days in, but it's like that 45 to 60 days in. What's the journey been like? Where were you before we started? That type of thing. And, we're going to go for it. So I'm going to do an introduction.
Awesome.
Right. So I'm gonna introduce you, and then I'm gonna give you a chance to introduce me because
Gosh.
So she's like, we did not practice. Remember when I told y'all we didn't practice? We didn't practice. So she's like, wait, what? I gotta do what? All right. So Nishaya, also known as Shaya, also known as my girl who be like, listen, you might have a problem if you go into Starbucks in your pajamas. I have to show you that video. So, if you're making life decisions at Starbucks, you might have a financial issue that you need to work through. But what I love is that Shay is a financial coach, and it's real. It's not like, oh, let me help you with your, stock investments. And so it's more of, let's talk about how you can stop making life decisions at Starbucks and Target in the gas station. Let's talk about how you can have money in your account so that you can go on that trip. And let's talk about it while, not telling you have to give up everything, because that's what we hear a lot, but how you can do the right things while still enjoying life, right? While still enjoying Target, while still enjoying Starbucks, while still enjoying those things, but having, some common sense to them so that you can do the things that you really, really, really want to do. And what I like is that it's so real, and it's less about, let's talk about your money, and more about, let's maybe talk about your relationship with money a little bit too. Like, let's talk about what that mindset is in the relationship that you have, so that way you can do this, because people are very sensitive about their money.
Mm-hmm.
It's like when they show you their baby, you be like, oh, look at the shoes.
So adorable. So precious.
Those shoes are precious, and the little outfit. so so Shan is really good about, like, let's talk about your relationship with money, because it's not as healthy as you think it is. And then let's get the rest of it together so that you can have a better relationship and enjoy the life that you want to live. So that is Shara Richardson, and you can of course find her at she'sthebudgetguru.com.
And that will be changing soon, but you'll still be able to reach me through that. So.
Okay, all right. I'm like, wait, what? We just put that here. Okay.
Yeah, no, that's just because, after working with you guys for the last however many days, we need to elevate some of the things that I was currently doing so yeah.
Gotcha. All right, so it's your turn. Don't worry. I'm not gonna snatch edges if you get it wrong.
Yes, so this is Miss Donna St. Louis. If you guys don't know who she is, like, you really should know who she is by now. She is an awesome one of the top 10 sales coaches in the country, and the only Black woman to do it. And I'm sorry.
I said, what?
What? And she is just dope at everything she does, and supporting us to really 10x our business, and has that big vision that some of us don't actually have, even though we think like we do. But she sees the bigger picture, and then it's like, oh, I can do that. It is possible. So, yes. How was that introduction, Donna?
That was good. No, you did good. Okay, see, wasn't scary. Nobody got hurt. I think I love that you said that. I think one of the things for me as a coach, and I tell people this all the time, like, I can't, like, yes, while there is coaching you here, that's why there's me and Chanel, right? So Chanel is the co-founder of Fire Savvy, and Chanel is like, I got to get you implemented. I got to get you moving forward. I don't have the luxury of being here. I have to be out there. So I have to be like, okay, like, it was funny. I was talking to somebody just yesterday, and I was literally talking about January 2024. And they're like, damn, sis, we ain't done with the first quarter yet, right? I'm like, oh, we're not, right? But I'm already thinking like January 2024, what are we going to do? How are we going to do this better? How are we going to grow? What does that look like? How does that year look like? What do we have to do to get them there? Right? I have to be like strategically, I have to be that far out. I have to be looking at when people are like, oh, the economy is tanking. SVB Bank did this thing, right? I have to look far out because I'm like, we can't wait to pivot after somebody threw the ball. Like, we got to know where the ball is going. So when we pivot, we're there and we're ready. And so yeah, it is kind of true that, yeah, I'm like, let me see your future, because for me, it's already out there, and I'm going, you have the potential to do this amazing thing. Like, you have that potential. How can I help you live up to that potential? And what are all the things we got to put in place right now? So when that future gets here, you're like ready to step into it.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so let's start with the first question. So you made like the insane decision to agree to sleep with me in a house for like 3 days. What was going through your mind?
I don't even know, girl.
I don't know, but I live to tell the story.
Yes, I did. It's kind of like, and I don't want to sound like all woohoo or, like, but it's kind of like one of those things where when it happens, you're like, oh my goodness, this is the thing that I was waiting for. And this is the sign. Like, it was just very weird. Like, it was almost like everything kind of just fell into place. And I don't even really remember the exact headspace I was in during that day. But I just know when we started conversing in the DMs, I'm like, something is telling me I should be there. Like, this is a decision. Like, I don't even really have to think about it. It was more like, can I get the time off from work? And yeah, I don't know. I can't even explain it, but it was just like one of those things is like, this is what you've been waiting for. And then this is the opportunity. Are you going to follow through on it? Or are you going to like talk yourself out of it? And like, yeah. So that's just really what it was.
I think a lot of people find themselves in the 800 reasons why they can't. And of course, the things that we hear all the time. The time isn't right? I can't do it because of the time. I can't do it because of money. And my favorite is, I can't do it because I don't know y'all like that. Like the top three, right? And sometimes I think that last one is like a real big one. Like, I don't know y'all like that, right? So, I mean, like, we didn't know each other before. Like, literally, we met, we hugged. I'm like, let me show you your room. Like, you go see here.
Yeah, and I think it was also like your realness, and like just the way that we connected. Like, I just felt like I could just tell you my whole life story and I didn't care. Like, it was also the other thing of and this kind of relates to with people and their money. Like, we put up this facade like everything's perfect, I don't need your help, when really like we're screaming on the inside like something's got to give. And like, just your energy, I don't know what it was. It was like, I'm just gonna tell this lady like how I'm feeling, like full transparency, this is where I'm at in my business. No, I may not be there, but so I don't know.
You know what I love about you saying that though, because I think it's probably one of the bigger challenges that I run into is that when I ask people about their businesses and what they're doing, and I'm saying, what are you doing now? Like, what's actually going on? And they'll tell me all these amazing things. And then I go, okay, well, it's a $3,700 investment to get started. And then they're like, oh, I ain't got that right now. I was like, well, wait a minute. You just said you're doing 7 figures in your business. I don't know any entrepreneur who's doing 7 figures in their business that can't make a $5,000 investment. Right. And so then it's like people are living in the facade of what they want to do,
Mm-hmm.
but they're living in that now rather than the reality of what it is, and then putting things in place in regards to what they want to do. And they think for real, and I would love for you to speak to this. They think for real that I'm going to judge them. They're like, well, she got 8 figures in her account, so she don't understand. I'm like, okay. I mean, I do, but I do understand.
Right.
Like, I was homeless. I was like homeless. That would be without a home. so,
Yeah.
so I
And
think
that's
sometimes that's scary for people. Like they think they're going to get judged.
hmm. And I will say that I had a little bit of that feeling in there because I don't know if you remember, but I mentioned like, well, my income may not be where you need me to be for me to be in the room. You're like, no, baby. Don't worry about that. Like, so I think, that sometimes we disqualify ourselves because we think that certain things have to be in certain places before we can have access to certain rooms or, opportunities. So, yeah.
I love that you say that because that we disqualify ourselves, because anytime somebody does their big viral promise and they start disqualifying themselves, first thing I say is, we don't disqualify ourselves. We absolutely do not. You say that shit like you own it, even if you ain't 100% sure about it. Like you like, this is what I do and who I do it for, and I'm the best at it. You lean
Try
in,
me.
try me, send me a DM and find out, right? And yeah, I love that you said that. I think we disqualify ourselves from so many rooms. There's a lady right now named Daniela who's coming, which I love Daniela. Every time I put a post of something that's slightly emotional, she's like, and I'm crying again. I'm like, girl, we got all the tissue. You fine. Right? And but I think so many times for real that we do disqualify ourselves from a lot of rooms. And I remember having to go and give my first pitch in IT for a $4 million project. And I was 26 years old in IT, the only woman in the room, the only minority in the room. And I'm a holder clicker. And when I walked in the room, by the way, the person who was meeting with us shook hands of everybody. I was the last person, shook hands with the CEO. I'm the COO, right? Shook hand with our top tech guy, shook hands with the guy who's going to do the reports, got to me, shook my hands, and then told me what kind of coffee how he liked this coffee.
Mm-mm.
I never, and they were gonna say something like my CEO was like, oh shit, right? Like he was like, you fucked up, right? And I was like, let me get that coffee for you 1 second. And I went and got him coffee. Well, one of the guys he was our reporting guy. My reporting guy went and sat at the head of the table, which was kind of funny because I had told him, I'm like, y'all know that's my seat. That's always gonna be my seat, right? Like, I don't care who the CEO is. I sit at the head of the table, mainly because everybody else is going to be a man. I'm sitting at the head of the table. And so he went and sat at the head of the table as a joke.
Yep.
So, of course, I walked over there. I'm like, Lance, what you doing? He's like, I was just playing. And got up and I sat down and I looked at that guy at the end of the table and I was like, so I'm going to introduce myself now. I'm Donna St. Louis. I'm the Chief Operations Officer. I'll be the person who not only presents, but the person who you will have to negotiate with in regards to this deal. So it's so great to meet you. How's your coffee? Every time he put that coffee to his lips, I asked him, I'm like, is it hot enough? Do you want me to warm it up? Do you need cream? He never got a sip. He finally just put this thing down and moved it to the side. I'm like, you ain't drinking it comfortably today. Not today, you will not. Right? But think about if I would have disqualified myself from that room because of how they would have treated me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wasn't a millionaire, I wasn't executive, but I didn't even have a degree. I had a high school diploma. Everything that I learned in IT, I read books and I applied what was in the books and I got certified by reading and practicing. So I was
Mhm.
certified in all these languages. So imagine if I would have disqualified myself and said, well, I'm not a man, I'm
Mhm.
not white, I don't
Mhm.
have a degree, I'm not making as much money as them. I've never been a COO before. I've never run a business before. We don't even have a I mean, we had no this is our first contract. We don't even have a contract.
Right.
Think about how many ways I could have disqualified myself from being in that room,
Right.
and I see us do it all the time.
Mhm.
And it's the one thing that I'm like, and I say this quite often, if you go in the room and you're uncomfortable, it's the room you should be in.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's it's true because that's like how I moved up to, the position that I'm in now is because I kept putting myself in situations where I'm like, I'm going to learn and I'm going to let these people see who I am versus like just sitting in the background and like just being quiet and really good and quiet. Like that's not going to get me anywhere.
Right.
So, yeah,
And be
yeah.
willing to go in the room and yes, learn and ask questions. I know so many people won't walk in the room because they're not the smartest person in the room. Or one of my favorites was somebody's like, I'm not trying to be nobody's client. And I'm like, okay, let me know how that work out for you because I got like right now, I got like 5 mentors.
Mhm.
Look, and when that one drop off, I'm gonna get another one because I'm like, yo, I recognize what I don't know, and I have the commas in my account, and I'm still going, no, 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 but I don't have 3 commas.
Right.
See, I don't have those yet.
Right. Right.
Right,
That's where
and
we going.
right, and my 3 comma people, they mentor each other.
Mhm.
Look at Bill Gates and Warren Buffett.
Right.
Like Warren Buffett is literally a Bill Gates mentor,
Mhm.
and I think people miss that. So let's talk a little bit about. I want to say before and after, but I kind of want to say before and during because you're still in the during sessions, right?
Yep.
So, okay, so you went to the mansion, right? You had your own room. I just want people to know this is so important. There's no sharesies.
No.
No.
You can lock your door if you want.
Lock your door. You had your own bathroom. Like nobody was like you gonna be in the showers much longer. Like the hot water worked the whole time, right?
Yep.
There's plenty of food. We fed you. There was probably too much food. I
Too
was like,
much.
we gonna eat all this Chipotle. It was like there was lots of wine. There was karaoke. There was a lot of work as well. We got the
Yep.
work done. Okay, so before, how would you describe where you were? Not that you were doing bad. I'm not saying that by a long shot. I don't want anyone ever to think like, oh, you got to be busted to come in. No, we only work with badasses anyway. So you were a badass before, right? But how would you describe your previous level of badassery to your current level of badassery?
I can definitely say I feel more confident in my expertise. Like I already had a methodology and framework, and I had some client results. I had a contract in place. But for some reason, like I was still feeling like something just doesn't feel right. Like I don't feel like I should as confident as I should feel. Um, so one, going back to what you talked about, how you didn't have that degree and whatever, to me, that was like something that had been a barrier in corporate America for me. So mentally, I was like, I don't have a C. I'm not a CFP. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a coach. I learned through experience, through courses, through other financial coaches and mentors. And I felt like, maybe I'm not as qualified as I think I am. And it's like, girl, stop. Like, people are getting results from what you're posting for free on your timeline. Forget about the people who are actually paying you. So now I just show up and I say what I have to say because I know the impact that I can have,
Right.
and that I have had. And I also know that I'm really good at what I do. And there's people that are going to connect and relate to me. One, because I'm a brown girl who's talking about money, and they're like, wow, everyone else who's talked about money has been an older white man or somebody that cannot relate to me and may not understand my situation. But I also, like to bring the humor and the practicality in it so that people see like we don't have to like shy away from this topic. Like we can have fun with it and do better with it. So yeah, it just I feel a lot more confident in what I'm doing, and how I want to support the people that I work with.
How would you say your messaging has changed from the before to the during?
I'm not as wordy.
That's
I,
true.
I am having a lot more fun with it too. So yeah, so it's really the fun of it. So when I make the jokes about the Amazon and all that stuff, it's going way to the left to make humor around stuff that, those life decisions that sometimes we make at Starbucks.
Right, right, exactly. Like, and we so Nisha and I get on the call and I have like this wicked sense of humor that I'm like, y'all could pull it back. Right. And so we'll get on and I'm like, let's talk about this stuff. Like we have this whole thing where like, let's talk about life choices. See, I can't post this stuff because it's not my content. Right. But I could damn sure coach and say, girl, here's all the ideas I have for you now because this is everything I dreamed about last night. Right. I dream about my clients. Don't make it weird. So, so one of the ones that I thought that actually came up recently that I thought was that I wanted to share with you was life decisions. Like, so we do these things where we talk about like different types of posts. Because here's the other thing, y'all. This is not the first time that Shay and I are actually speaking. She actually has access to her coaches.
Like every day if I want to.
Every day. Every day. So I was thinking about this the other day. Okay, so we're always talking about little changes that people can make to their finances, right? To help their finances. So I was thinking that you could do this whole series, like if you're making life decisions at Starbucks, get 2 pumps instead of 5 or something like that. Like, let me help you reduce the bill. Get 2 pumps instead of 5. Try a short instead of a tall. I didn't know they had a short for a while there, if you want the truth. But I was thinking, like, what are all these micro changes that people can make, right? I tell you one, no, for real, bring your own cup.
Mm.
I think or if you really want to have at Starbucks, if you go to Starbucks and Target, you get free refills.
Do you know I just saw that the other day and I was like, what? That's how they're getting people. Just walk around Target and they'll never leave. Keep refilling
Right?
their
But I
coffee.
was just thinking it would be like so cool to have like just these little look, people are like, look, they're like, what? Yes, yes. Right. So they're like these little, like I was thinking you should come up with like these micro modifications that people can make. And like I know they're silly as hell, but people love that humor that, you
And they'll
know.
start using them. Believe me, they will start using them. And then they'll
Shit,
message me
when I
and
just
be
found
like,
out about this Target one, I'm like, I got a $50 Target gift card. I'm about to go there and get like 3 rounds of Starbucks in my venti cup. Look, I'm like, can y'all fill this up real quick though? If you could just,
oh gosh.
I did not know that.
Yes.
So,
Someone shared it with me. I think it was like a TikTok video or something. And then someone confirmed, like, oh yes, this is real. Like it's a real thing. Like, wow.
I think I may have sent you that TikTok
Did you?
video.
Okay.
I think so, because I was like, girl, look,
Gold mine.
go mine the data right here, right? So, but that's the thing. So let's talk about that a little bit because one of the things that that I fight against big time, and y'all, if anybody go on my Facebook feed, they'll see it. I fight against this bro code bullshit marketing where they're like, you can do it for even though I'm selling this thing for $80,000, you can get it today only for $500 and it's going to change your life because I sold this book right here for 99 cents on Amazon and today I have a private jet. Come on. Please, if it don't seem to make sense, it don't make sense. And then they do this whole thing with confuse and overwhelm. They drop all this information out there for people. They give them way too much of it. They drown people and waterboard people with content. And then when people are completely confused, they're like, well, I could help you with the confusion that they created.
Mhm.
All you got to do is spend all of this money and you'll have access. But they don't actually give you access to the human being. They give you access to their video series,
Nobody wants that.
which, which will leave you with even more questions that you got to now upsell to get an answer to. What the actual fuck? I'm like, come on. So, okay. So I know, and you know how much it drives me nuts. And then meanwhile, Chanel and I over here on the phone with people for 2 hours at night trying to go, but you're actually talking to us. But when I have access to you, we're here right now. Like, this is what you're doing. Right? This is it. This is what we call access. It's 9:00 on Saturday. You're talking to us. Like, I'm in the job. Yeah, pizza getting cold. What do you mean? Well, you have access. So can you do me just the slightest, tiniest favor? And can you talk about the access? Because people really don't think that they have access once they get into our program.
There is lots of access. And it's actually yeah, so I've been in coaching programs where, that was actually talked about, where it was like, okay, you got to set boundaries, but sometimes the boundaries is a little too much, to where you feel like, can I even ask a question? And if I do, am I going to get an answer within the next 24 to 48 hours type thing?
Am I going to get an answer that makes sense?
Right. So we definitely have access to that. Like, we put in the group chat and like we get responses like right away. I will say that because I had that mindset of previous experiences, like I was not necessarily afraid to ask questions, but I didn't really know like when and where I should ask questions. And I remember when I posted in the group and I was like, hey, what am I doing here? I don't really want to ask the question because I'm like not necessarily afraid, but I think I'm gonna get
right.
the
I don't want to overstep boundaries. Right.
You were like, right. You're like, girl, ask the question now before you mess it up.
Right. Don't go out there and mess it up and then be like, well, I'm like, why you didn't ask us that? We right here. We're here for you. Put the post. Let us give you feedback here. Then go and light it up online.
Yep. So I think that's like a huge thing because you don't always get that in certain programs. So that was like, the best thing for me because it's like, okay, this puts me in a better headspace because now I know that I'm really getting that next level support that I really want, which was one of the reasons why I made the investment.
Right. And I think the other thing is, while yes, there is a crazy amount of access to me and Chanel. Like, people literally like, are y'all always on Facebook? And I'm like, we're always in our chat programs in some way, shape, or form. We were up one time, literally, it was like 1:00 in the morning. Me and Chanel were on the phone and we're like, did you see such and such post? Okay, that post was fire. We got to tell them, dude, this is the, oh, did you see this? And we're like literally going through everybody's stuff. It's like 1:00 in the morning. And we started laughing. We're like, what coaches are doing this for their clients? Like at 1:00 in the morning, we're like dreaming to y'all. We started texting. Then I'm like, girl, I'm just gonna call you. Hey, girl, hey, okay. What are we going to do? And then, like, even for the next, which one are you coming to? I know you came to January. Are you coming to April?
April, yeah.
Okay, good. So at the next one that you come to, the next on Mastermind. So the way most masterminds go is, some superstar stands up and they speak the whole day until you just so tired of sitting there and you done tuned out on your phone and you done got TikTok on and you acting like you're like, right? All they do, they are waterboarding you with content, is overwhelming, is too much. And you don't actually leave having done anything except for taking notes.
Mm-hmm.
That's all you've done is taking notes. Can you talk about the slight difference in coming to a mastermind?
Yep. So we actually implemented everything that we talked about in that moment. So when we left there, we had tangible things that we could look at and say, okay, this is what I can do next. So even like the Fyre pitch, that was the game changer. That was the pre work. And then we got there, we pitched it, and then we had an opportunity to make critiques after our pitch and then go back again. Did we pitch it twice? No, only once, right?
You pitched it once and you had a chance to go and update it. So you pitched it, I reviewed pre-pitched it, I reviewed it, updated, then pitched it live.
Yes. Okay. So yeah, so that was like awesome because you walked away with that. And then also that 10x plan was like, okay, this is what you can do for your business to 10x it. So yeah, everything that we did, we implemented. We recorded videos and just it was just a jam-packed day, 3 days with fun and implementation. So it was just a great experience from
Yeah, there's a lot of implementation. Somebody's like, the only time we on TikTok is when we post in Firewire. This is so true. Kendra, actually, at the one in December, everybody who made a video posted their video live. I know Teresa posted hers, and I'm like, yeah, because why did we make the video?
right. If you're not going to use it.
Right. Like most people would say, oh, this is how you make one. And we're like, this is how you make one. Y'all got an hour. Go make your video. Like, storyboard your stuff, create your script. You got a whole cast of people here to work with you. Somebody go go right, just to get people like understanding. So I'm gonna share some deets about the sales one. Okay, so here we go. So how, girl, it's gonna be good. So normally when you go to a sales, so our unmasterminds are different because they're not just about sharing ideas. We do that, right? We share ideas. We get past mindset barriers because their mindset barriers are going to slow us down. So we really go heavy and get rid of a mindset barrier. We give you exercises to get past those mindset barriers beyond when you're there. So we do that. We definitely teach something because we want you to learn something. And then, like Shaya said, and you are going to implement that something while you're there. Girl, so the next one is on sales. Okay. And so y'all been doing the pre-work. Well, they have the pre-work. Okay. So listen, and right now, every insider right now that's sitting on here gonna be like, we gonna do what? What she say? So first of all, where people think, oh, the pre-work is optional, we don't give you the address if you don't do the pre-work. So that makes it hard to sleep at the house. Okay, so the number one thing that most of us do in order to get clients to get to know us is that we do some type of masterclass or a challenge or something like that. Like we all do it, right? And the hardest thing is, how do I actually sell from a masterclass? Well, number one thing y'all gonna do is create your actual pitch deck to sell from a masterclass, including how to sell from it at the end.
This is game changer.
And you're going to present that pitch deck.
Oh gosh.
You're going to get 20 minutes to present your sales pitch deck. In other words, you're going to give us a 20-minute masterclass in your stuff that ends with the way that you sell. And we're going to help you be able to sell. So that way, anytime you do a masterclass, at that point it goes, well, do I want to do a 20-minute masterclass or a 90-minute masterclass? Because I know how to close and sell, right? Because y'all see me do them and they're like, honey, how did she just do $50,000 in the masterclass? Right? So y'all see me do them all the time. So now I'm like, we want to teach y'all how to do them. Okay, so that's day one.
Oh God.
I mean, that's after party. Day one? Yeah. Oh, you thought this was the whole thing? Girl, no, that's just day one. And there's even a little twist on that. I'm not telling you the twist. So that's day one, right? We give you the pitch deck. We give you everything, how it works, everything. I just last night finished up my entire sample. I wrote the whole thing in. I'm passing it along. It's literally 17 minutes. Okay. So that's number one. Well, here's number two. So now that you've done this pitch, Mm. Okay, if I say this part, you're gonna know the twist. So I'm gonna have to be careful. Look, somebody look at this. Somebody wrote, day one, I'm not ready and I'm excited.
Who
And
is
I'm
that?
I'm not ready and I'm ready and excited. Okay, you gotta give me a name because it only says Facebook user. So okay, so that's day one. Okay, so then day two is all about sliding them DMs.
Well, I will say that is actually one of my growths since it's sliding in the DMs. Because I was like, come to me. So, oh, I'm excited about this.
Right. So day one is like, you're going to do this presentation. Day two is sliding the DMs, but you're going to actually slide in the DMs. Not going to think about it. You're going to actually do it. And then and that's the first half of day one.
Okay.
I mean, day two. The second half of day two, sales calls.
Oh, kryptonite. Oh.
but why am I doing that? Because here's the thing. First of all, I have the easiest sales script ever for anyone to follow. That's number one. It's customized to you and your client. So that's number two. But here's the big number three, the amount of support. Because you can go to your room and you can get on the phone and you can have that sales call by yourself. Or you can get on the phone and you can go to the room and you can have that sales call with me staring into your soul. So either way, but either way, you're gonna have that, you're gonna have a sales call because the goal, think about what my big, hairy, audacious goal is. My big, hairy, audacious goal is, how do I get my clients to walk away with an actual sale? Or how do I get fire savvy insiders to literally walk away with follow-up phone calls, skills, the ability to close at a masterclass, the ability to slide in DMs and having closing conversations, the ability to get on the phone. Like, it's not enough for us to teach it to you. I could teach you sales on this.
Right.
What do we want you to do? We want you to come downstairs and be like, girl, I just paid for this whole thing. Like, I'm buying dinner.
Right.
Which is already included. But still, right? So
That's exciting. Oh gosh. Like I was ready for April, but I'm like ready. As Alika said, I'm ready and excited now. Like
yeah, because we literally want y'all, when y'all have those master classes, we want y'all to close in those master classes. I want you to say, you know what? I do master classes every 2 weeks, like clockwork. I'm always up in my deck. I know exactly what goes in my deck. I know exactly what goes where. I know how to put my stack together. And every time I do one, I close $5,000 or $10,000 in sales. I close 20, 25. I close 50, 100,000. That's what I want to hear. I definitely don't want to hear like, girl, I had 5 people show up in there. I don't care if you had 5 people show up. You should have got 4 sales. Like, it's like 100%. Because if I got them showing up and I'm getting them sales, you need to be getting those sales. So that's what we're doing for the sales one in March and April.
Yay. I'm excited for that. Like, yes. Yeah, that's game changer.
Yeah. So everybody who did their homework, don't be mad at me. Is revamped homework. Y'all, sorry. I'm so sorry. So sorry. But I'm not sorry because it's going to make you money. And it's probably a total, honestly, of about, like if I had to lay it down, like doing it from scratch, from zero, it's probably about 4 hours worth of homework. Like 4 hours worth of solid homework. Yeah.
That's not bad though.
No. Oh no. And that's without having to go and create the pitch deck from scratch. Right. So they're literally going to take my pitch deck and just pop their stuff in it. But game changer, because that's what we want. We don't, like, people say game changer. We fucking mean that. like who walked out with the most sales? Who leaving? Who leaving with money?
Right. Who can we celebrate today?
Who we celebrating? So yeah, we're gonna do something really, really big, but that's an unmastermind. So that's what we're gonna do. Can you just share, like, I know you talked about doing the fire pitch. What are some of your experiences like at an unmastermind, like from just a delivery thing? What did you feel like you delivered that you used
Um,
later?
that I use later. I actually use the the sales or the pitch,
The fire pitch.
the slide, to apply for a grant. I didn't get the grant, but I did use it for that.
Oh, but
Um,
that's so cool.
yeah, and then I just used, so like what I did was I used the slides, but I took like some out because I had to do it within under 2 minutes, the
Hmm.
video. So I used the slides and then I did the video over the slides, and I didn't have to like revamp anything because it was already done.
That,
So that was awesome because sometimes, well, I'm not gonna say sometimes, but most of the times, like you get that analysis paralysis where you're like, I don't know what to say, I don't know what I need, and then that helped out significantly.
so
Um,
tell people who are listening what the fire pitch is, because they don't know what that is.
how do I word it? Basically, it's like you presenting your business as if you are in front of investors and you want them to invest in your business. So you have to talk about your expertise, who you serve, your clients' frustrations, and then how you can like get them to the next level.
Yep, exactly. And most people never actually take a moment to pitch their business ever. And so this is like, nah, you got to stand up and make us know why it's worth knowing your business in the first place. And people are like, I'm sorry, we got to do, I came to take notes.
You know what? My baby's sick. I gotta go.
Right, right. Like, you hear that? No, I don't hear shit. Shit. Right. Some people never in their entire life get an opportunity to actually pitch their business. And while people are like, well, how important is this? I think it becomes one of the most important exercises as the foundation of your business.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yeah.
Because now you're looking at it.
Yeah. And it also helps you like brainstorm those things that you may not have thought of before. And now you're like, okay, now I'm very clear on what I'm doing, who I'm serving, and the direction that I'm going in. So,
Right.
and it also like help at the end, we looked at our numbers and like where we expect to be. So now you can see like, okay, I need to like make reach some goals throughout the year and
Right.
yeah, make things happen.
And one of the things that we're going to talk about at this one, especially, is pricing, right? That's one of the challenges that people run into is they don't know how to actually price their services so that it makes sense for their clients. So when I sit down and I tell somebody, I'm like, listen, we could, if we put everything in, we could charge much more than we do to come to this 3-day event. Cause I know people who charge 7, 8,000 and you don't even get to stay there or eat, you know? Um, and so understand pricing and how pricing works is so critical because pricing, time, making sure that you're putting in the offer properly, how to set up an offer. A lot of people don't know how to set up an offer, how to set up an offer, price that offer, sell that offer. So those are all the things we're going to do at this next one. So yes, March and April are going to be fire. I'm be like, how much did you make? Where is my monies? They be
That
like, is your coach on commission? Like, where's my money? I need my 20,000 this month. Go get it. So let me tell you, I watched you the other day dance your way up to the platform before you got ready to speak. And you were speaking, and I was like, that is so fire savvy. I'm so proud of her. And so I just love watching you. I love how, I mean, in a very short amount of time, just your before and after on your feed,
mm-hmm.
just the before and after. I think before you were very serious. Like, so this is my outside view. Before you were very serious about money. You were like, it's money and it's a budget. Must be budgeted. I was like, okay, pull back.
Damn.
Like, damn, she mad about her money, right? so, but I'm like, Shay, I'm like, you're so much fun. Like, I saw you do karaoke with interpretive dance and background dancers. What's happening? Where is that part? and then now to see like there's this other side that makes people a little bit more comfortable and want to have a few more conversations and see that you really do have this amazing personality when it comes down to talking about money, which I think is fantastic. How does it feel from a before and after perspective?
Yeah, I think when you have that confidence, then you can show up more of yourself, right? So it's like, yeah, I used to show up as myself, but it was also a little muted too,
Right.
And I realized like when I was doing my long form copy, like I would get into this professional voice versus like my silly self. And it's like, wait a minute. You can
Right.
see the difference. So yeah, but again, it's also realizing like you have a gift and you have something that a lot of people are struggling with or wish they could do a little better with, because my clients are dope already in the things that
Right.
they're doing. But this may be an area where they want the additional support. And I'm like, I know I can help them get there. So now I just need to show up that way so that they can see, like, okay, she knows she can help me, and I'm going to be excited about working with her. So again, it's that confidence, having that, just knowing that, I can do what I say I'm going to do.
And
Thing.
your ideal client, I think the way you describe them changed a little too
Mm-hmm.
from a
Yeah.
before and after perspective. How would you describe your clients like as compared to how you used to describe them? How would you describe them today?
Like as you say, they're badasses already, like they're already reached that financial success, or they've reached those benchmarks, but like the money thing is the one thing that maybe they need that more additional support with. They have that growth mindset, they know there's more, but now they need assistance to get to that next level.
Right.
And I think for me it was kind of like putting I guess a title on them, because it was like, okay, I know these are the people that are my dream clients. I've experienced them, but I just don't know who they are. It's the high achievers. Like,
Right.
it's
Yeah.
me. Like,
Right. And I think that was like one of the bigger differences. And we talked about this a little bit is saying, she's high achieving. She's making more money now than she's ever made before. And here's the thing about that. And, you know, people just think that because you know how to make 150,000, 300,000, 350,000, 500,000, $1 million, that all of a sudden the financial fairy comes and sprinkles little pixie dust on your head and you're suddenly financially fucking brilliant. Y'all, SVP just went out of business, right? And these people are financial geniuses, right? And so it doesn't happen that way. Just because you're making more money does not mean that you have more money knowledge. It just means you have more money. That's
mhm.
all it means, right? And the way that I like to look at it is this way. So I have a yard. It has grass in it. That grass grows like nobody's business. Just because I have more grass doesn't mean I'm a better lawnmower. I'm just like, yo, it's extra grass. Like all I know how to do is pick up the phone and call a dude and be like, did you die? Because it's been a little bit. The grass is high. That's all I got. This is all I got. I got this. The grass is high. That's it. It's the same thing when people have money. Just because your bank account balance is higher does not mean that you are suddenly brilliant about money. I tell
Mhm.
people all the time, I am a money idiot. I know how to make it. I'm really good at making it. I can breathe money, thank God. Right? But then after that, I gotta call people and be like, so who is Roth? And why should I give him $5,000? I don't know him like that. Right?
Right.
And who is Ira? Is that his brother? I don't even know these people. But you know what I mean? And people just make this assumption. They make this assumption because you know how to make money that all of a sudden you're brilliant in knowing what to do with it or how to manage it. And that's not how that works,
Mhm.
right? Just because I give you 10 kids, don't know how you mean you know how to take care of them little motherfuckers. Because if you gave me 10 kids, I'm like, somebody somewhere need to who gonna feed them? Oh, they gotta all eat all the time? Holy shit. Right? Just because you have extra doesn't mean you know what to do with it.
Hmm.
And that's the thing, right? We know what to do with our extra weight. We throw a shaper on it. We right, but we don't know what to do with extra money.
Yep.
And that's what I love about you. And this is the one thing that I was going to say for the coaching call, but I tell you now. Um, when we first talked, it was like, okay, you're talking about money, so therefore you're talking about wealth, and that's really what you're selling, wealth. And actually, what you're selling is relationship.
Hmm.
It's the relationship that people have with their money, because the reason people get so afraid of talking about it is because they're afraid to let people know that they don't have a strong relationship with truly understanding money, which is the one partner they'll have for the rest of their lives,
Hmm.
you know? And so I think it's so important. I love what you do. I love that you're like, listen, you're making more than you ever have. Let's figure out what to do with it.
Right.
Cause I ain't gonna pretend like you know, so you shouldn't pretend like you know either.
Exactly. Like, let's talk about it. Like, it can be
Yeah.
fixed, you know.
And it's funny because I remember so I'm an only child. And when I had my son, I was like, but then I had a second son. And I remember telling my then husband, I said, listen, I was like 7, 8 months pregnant, and I was in the shower, and he had just come home from work, and I was pregnant and hormonal, right? So I was in the shower crying my ass off, and I remember pulling him in the shower and saying, I don't know what to do with two of them. Like, what if one of them breaks something? Do you spank them both? What if they try to kill each other? What if they don't like each other? How do you make them like each other? Like, I had all these questions, and I'm like, yo, I don't know what you do with two kids. It's the same thing with money. Yo, what are you doing? You double income.
Well, at least you could admit it that.
Oh, yeah. I was straight up. Listen, I did not even pretend. I'm like, I do not know to do with two of them. I don't know how these people are figuring this out. Is there a book? They don't come with a manual? I thought when you got two, they definitely gave you the manual. They don't give you the manual. What the hell, right? So I didn't pretend that all of a sudden, like, I was this brilliant mom who's gonna figure everything out. I'm like, yo, they gonna be on the therapy couch a lot. And so, I mean, but I recognize that I think it is the same thing with money. Like, just because you have more of it doesn't mean that you know what to do with it. You really do need somebody to help you figure that out.
Yeah. And I think, the other thing is there's so much information, there's so much access to stuff that people feel like, okay, I can go on YouTube, I can go here, I can go there, right? And then they start doing all these things and then they overcomplicate something that can be very simple.
Right.
And when you simplify it, it just makes it like, oh, okay, this is not stressful at all. I can actually do this and I can be good at it too. So
Right.
I think because we have access to so much information that sometimes that kind of
It
slows
makes
people
it
down.
it's that overwhelming confused.
Hmm.
Overwhelmed with all this information, and so I'm totally confused by it. One of the things that I remember watching many years ago, and this was probably right when I started making like real money, right? I was like doing like 250, 300,000 a year, and it was a long time ago. And um Greenspan, I think it was Greenspan, came on TV, and I think he was the chairman of Federal Trade Reserve at the time. I think that was his title, but I know he was the money guy, or he was over the treasury or something. And he was like, yeah, I don't even understand how the whole housing loans and subprime market is working. He was like, I tried to pull it apart, and I have no idea what's going on. And I'm like, what happened? Like,
And we supposed to be okay with that? Like, oh no.
I'm like you the man, like you the guy, like you the guy. Like, if there's a guy that should know, like, you're the guy. Like, you sign shit. Like, you are him. Like, I thought that was your name on there. It's not you. What the actual? And so I remember when he stood up and said he had no idea what was going on with the housing with like subprime loans and prime loans and how they put them together and bundle them, because at the time, like, you could go get a loan, like you could make like $50,000 a year, buy $1 million house and have a balloon payment in 5 years and be homeless in 6. Like it was like a real thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when people started asking him about it, especially when the bubble was happening, the housing bubble, and it was about to burst or had just burst, and they were asking him about it, he was literally like, well, I can't pull it apart, I don't know. And I'm like, you're literally like the financial dude. Like, that's your whole job.
Right.
And I knew in that moment, I'm like, yo, if he doesn't know, I damn sure am not expected to understand.
Mm-hmm.
So all I know is when money come out, it's a minus. And when money go in, it's a plus. Boom. Now I need somebody else to know the rest. Right? Like, that's it.
Right.
That's it. I'm still amazed when people are like, oh, just go get a no interest credit card, and then that thing that you bought, just move it over to that no interest credit card. And I'm like, and they're like, and it's no interest for a year. And I understand the math. I understand mathematically. I'm really good at math. But I'm like, how do you move it? Is it a cash advance? Don't they charge you a big ass fee for that? How does that work? You know what? I'm just gonna pay it off. Fuck it. Right? Like, I'm just gonna pay it off. I'm just gonna pay it off. Right. And people think I'm being, but I'm like serious. Like, when I hear this, I'm like, I don't know how that works. How does that work? Because I've never done it before. And I think there is this expectation again. You have more money, so you should know. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't pretend to.
Right.
And that's the thing. Y'all, we need to stop pretending like we know. That's why Silicon Valley broke is real.
Mm-hmm.
Because people get this money and they don't know what to do with it. So you only making like an extra $50,000 this year than you made before. Girl, you better get somebody to talk to.
Mm-hmm. Or else that 50,000 gonna feel like you made an extra $5, and you like, wait a minute, I got a raise. What happened?
Right. Be like, am I supposed to do something with dependents? Should I have like 8 of them to bring my tax? What is happening? Right. It is a very real thing, and I think people don't take the time to really understand that. Just because you make more money, and that could be a post for you, just because you make more money doesn't mean you suddenly have more financial knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't. It really doesn't, and we got to have real conversations with people about that. So do you have a masterclass coming up?
I do. March 30th at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. 5 easy under your nose ways to multiply that extra 50K, right? Or that multiply that extra cash.
What do you have the URL?
Yes, it's she'sthebudgetguru.com/spring clean. I never changed it.
she'sthebudgetguru.com/spring clean.
Yes, it's only $97, and I can almost guarantee, even though I don't like giving guarantees, but I can almost guarantee that I can show you at least one strategy that's going to show you how to get that $97 back if you implement it at the end of the masterclass.
Yeah, because I'm going, because listen. I went to Starbucks today in my pajamas, and I'm still proud of it. Here's the bad part: I go to Starbucks in my pajamas, not so often, but often enough that the dude who always gives me my drinks at Starbucks goes, "Oh, you got a new outfit. That is so cute. Like this one. Is this new?" It's adorbs. I'm like, thanks. Usually you wear the pink one. I'm like, fuck. Okay.
Time to switch it up, Donna.
But the fact that he recognized my pajamas is pretty bad. I go there often enough that this man in my pajamas that he recognized my pajamas.
I can't. You're gonna have to get some new sets because, yeah.
And I only go in when the line is really, like, if the line is really long, and I'm like, oh, it's just faster for me to go in. Yeah, so we actually got video of that today. I'm like, this is not good. That he recognized, and he's like, "Oh, queen, I love it. Onesie, okay." I was like, all right, okay.
Well, be careful, because these stylists on my timeline, they saying like you can't just show up any old way thinking that your client's gonna want to pay you money.
No.
You
but
don't
it
want
was
your clients to see you in Starbucks in your pajamas.
it was Starbucks, and I wasn't gonna get out. I was really just gonna roll up, but the line was really long. It is pretty. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you because, but it was Starbucks, right? So I have a reason. The line was longer than I expected, so we got to start there. So that's not really my fault. So they gotta have a shorter line. Let's see if you can see it.
Uh-uh. Okay, Queen. At least you got the whole swag with it. You
I had I walk like I own it now. Walk like that was a new fit. The line was really long, and I knew my stuff was ready, so I'm like, I'm just gonna run in real quick and run out. And my friend was like, acting like she ain't in her pajamas. I was
no
desperate.
judgment. It's
Thank
okay.
you. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So, so you got to go to she'sthebudgetguru.com/spring clean. Listen, it's time to get the ego aside. Yes, you are making extra money. Congratulations. You are crushing it. That's awesome. But let's put the ego aside and act like you know exactly what you're doing with it. Just because you making more don't mean you know what to do with it. Like I said, if y'all drop 10 kids up in here, I'd be like, oh, I had 2. I don't know what y'all do with 10. So, and that 2, that doubled the one that I was expecting to have, and that was already shocking. So, so you really, just because you have extra doesn't mean you know what to do with it. It's time to get smart about your money, to really understand what you want to do with it, how you can make it grow, because that 50,000 will feel like 5. 25,000 will feel like 2 if you don't know what you're doing with it. You don't want to get to the position where you're making life goals, life decisions at Target and Starbucks. You actually want to make money with your money. So make sure you go check out Nishaya. She's thebudgetguru.com/spring clean. And if you are interested in coming to the Sales Unmastermind, it's happening. We literally have one spot, one room, and no sharesies. So it really is one room, your own room with your own bathroom. But it's coming up quick. So you got to be a decisive person because it's March 27th through the 30th. It's all about sales. If you're really interested, you would actually have to get on the boat right now because homework is due. And then of course, April 17th to the 20th is when we're having the other one. And that one as well is all about sales, 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 sales. And this isn't one of those things where 800 people show up. We only let 20 folks in. That's it. That's why we only got one spot left because it's not a hotel. It's a mansion. It's limited rooms. And you ain't sleeping in my room. Not doing it. So unless Shay gonna share hers in April.
No, no.
Okay. All right. Anyway, that's all we got. You all have a great afternoon. Thank you so much.